Hello and welcome back to the final day of BlizzCon here at the Anaheim Convention Center. My name is Cloakin, and we are halfway through our semifinal matches here on the BlizzCon stage. We just saw a dominant MVP Black take a clean sweep series over their opponents. It was an incredible match. They move on to the grand finals, but we have one more semifinal match underway. That is a rematch of last year's grand finals, BlizzCon 2016. It is Korea's Ballistix versus Fnatic. Who's gonna take it? Let's head over to Kalaris in the desk to find out.
Always a delight to have you along for this, Cloakin, as we continue down the line. The next best of 5, as Cloakin mentions, Fnatic going up against Ballistix. To my left-hand side, we have Wolf, we have Skimmy, we have Grubby, all the way down at the very end there, bringing us all the fantastic analysis. Thank you very much, gentlemen, throughout the entirety of this tournament so far. But now we're getting down to some of the big dogs. We already had, of course, MVP Black looking amazingly strong in our previous series. And Skimmy, you were watching that in the back. How did you see MVP Black in the dominant form that they're in?
MVP for me, it was surgical, right? It was a case of everything was working in their favor. I don't really know where you go from an opponent sort of stage as to where you really target them, draft-wise, execution-wise. You know, they draft a reset comp into mid-deep and make it look like it's actually not a counter.
Yeah, very, very difficult for their opponents to deal with in the previous series. But now we turn our attention, now we shift focus a little bit here as Fnatic is going to be going up against Ballistix. We can take a look at the bracket, see and keep you up to date with everything that has gone on so far here throughout the single elimination stage. Bear in mind, the first round was best of 3s. Now everything from here on out is best of 5s. Fnatic versus Ballistix, and Ballistix, Wolf, previously L5, right. No strangers to Fnatic.
No, they're not, and we have seen them clash before in other tournaments. Obviously, in BlizzCon last year, specifically, this was the famous matchup. When you look at that bracket, a lot of people who maybe just tuned in will say, I'm a little bit surprised Roll20 was able to take a map off of Ballistix. That series looked a lot closer than I think most people expected, especially when you go back and look at what drafts Roll20 was running. Ballistix got a little bit caught off guard. I think Fnatic should take a page out of North America's book here a little bit. Not every game, but to try to run some strategies, because Ballistix can, and they have shown that they can be caught off guard.
I mean, looking into the past, as you're mentioning here, Ballistix was the one last year at BlizzCon 2016 that brought that macro-heavy style to the table. And it felt like ever since then, Fnatic said, we'll adopt that. You made this. I made this now, it's mine. So it was kind of an assimilation of what they wanted to bring to the table.
Yeah, everyone learns from each other, right? And everyone looks at the world champion. We see that there, November 5th, 2016, Ballistix won at that time. And they're, you know, they've had a few different roster shuffles, but you see that guy on the right there, Noblesse, he was their tank player. Now, he is their drafter, he is their coach, so that's a very cool effect.
For MVP Black.
Yeah, he is the coach of MVP Black now, which is it's a storyline that could actually extend further into this grand finals, as the former tank player now works for the enemy.
Right.
But I think that what's been really cool about watching this team evolve throughout this year is that Hooligan and SDE have certainly filled their roles nicely. Can we say that Hooligan has lived up to the legacy of Noblesse? I don't think so, not yet. But if they're able to win this finals, I think there's a closer argument.
Well, we can keep talking about it in a few moments' time here, as we're almost ready to launch into our best of 5. So without further ado, a rematch from BlizzCon 2016 Grand Finals.
So for the semifinals now, that we face Ballistix, it's a rematch of last year's finals, which is pretty sad that it's in the semis. But I think we're pretty even this year, and if we step up our game, we can probably beat them and go to the final again.
Playing in front of a crowd, especially the biggest crowd there is for us, which is here at BlizzCon, is a bit nerve-wracking, but also super hype, especially if the crowd is on your side. Because last year there was like chants all over the place with my name and our team, so that was just like, that got me so pumped, and it was like one of the best feelings ever. So yeah, if the crowd is on our side, I think that's just gonna be such a huge advantage.
지금 8강에서 롤20를 이기고 4강에 올라가게 됐는데 4강 상대가 푸나틱인데 좀 잘하는 팀이라서 걱정이 되긴 하지만 저번 결승에서 이미 이기고 우승을 해봤기 때문에 다시 이기고 결승으로 가보도록 하겠습니다.
관객이 많은 게임을 저희가 처음에 작년 블리즈컨 때 한번 느껴봤었어요. 저희가 처음 했을 때 디그니타스를 외치면서 다들 4강에 첫 경기를 해봤었고 결승전에서는 푸나틱을 외치는 관객을 상대로 많이 해봤었어요. 그래서 관객들이 많이 해서 약간씩은 브리핑이 돼요. 그래서 약간 게임에 약간의 영향이 조금씩 끼치고 또 약간 저희가 죽으면 소리를 엄청나게 질러서 약간 긴장도 되게 만들어요. 그래서 아마 그런 게 약간씩 영향이 조금씩 있는 것 같아요, 확실히. 하지만 그런 거 응원을 받는 그 팀 입장에서 많이 도움이 될 것 같아요.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm BlizzCon welcome to last year's BlizzCon champions, Korea's Ballistix! And over in the blue corner, the reigning world champions from the mid-season brawl, the Swedish boy band, it's Fnatic! Captains, please. Good luck, gentlemen. Kalaris, let's get this battle underway.
Jeez, Kevin, you went ballistic in that intro. Let's get it going. That's right, as this best of 5 is about to commence here. And for a lot of people outside of South Korea, even I should say, wrong Korea. People see Sweden as the country that almost mirrors a little bit of what South Korea brings to the table. We consider it one of the strongest countries in the whole world, and Fnatic has been no different in proving that correct throughout the years.
Yeah, absolutely. Fnatic's defeat of MVP Black last year is the big standout one, and I think that's why if they're able to take this upset win here and face Black in that finals, it's such a great story. But yeah, as you say, going back to StarCraft 2, even some of the greatest Western players were always from Sweden. So there is that competitive background for this nation and other esports as well. But I think that for Fnatic, a lot of the time their skill, their mechanics never waver. I think it's some of his shot calling and mentality that is the weakness or strength of this team.
I'd go as far as saying this one's going to really come down to the draft itself. You discussed before, Claris, about both of these teams being very heavy on the emphasis for the macro game, which for the most part has got them so far against teams that are very honed in, like China, on that sort of team fighting presence. They get punished. So when it comes to this one, I feel like the draft itself, if they've done their research into what sort of pick and win rates we've seen sort of develop from opening week to here, that could be the big sort of turning point, not to mention the actual map bans and the bans for the maps themselves.
Yeah, and it definitely can be skimmy. This is a best of 5 now, and there's been one glaring example of Fnatic's consistency in drafting, and it's 7 out of 7 games at this tournament they've banned Tassadar in that first spot. And this seems to be this is fairly it's characteristic for Fnatic and Dignitas to a degree, but it's uncharacteristic in a tournament of these proportions, because this seems like something. Anytime you give your opponent something guaranteed info about yourself, that's a disadvantage. Anytime you can surprise your opponent, that's an advantage. So it will be an interesting thing.
Well, let's check in with the global cheer bar to see how the HGC universe out there is contributing the cheers to the teams that they love the best. Currently, we're at 27 million cheers in total-ish, as we're getting almost up to that 28 million. And remember, guys out there, the target is 30 million, and then we unlock ourselves another mount. I know I have a lot of mounts in the game. I'm sure a lot of people at this desk have a ton of mounts at the game, but we always need more, guys. We always need more.
I mean, it's your own mount, right? It's the ginger lizard, so I mean, I can try and get on that bandwagon as well.
The deadly ginger Kylaris lizard, Chaos lizard, that's right. So, taking a step back for a moment before we actually get into this series, isn't it fantastic to see in Heroes of the Storm, just in general, that we keep having year upon year, the top teams always kind of being the same teams. The consistency, the stability that is offered by these teams. It's very awesome to see.
I mean, there's every single player that played in the top 8 has played Heroes for a while, right? And there's teams in the top 4 a little bit longer, you know, Expert even though they haven't had that much international success, they've all played in EU for a very long time. Now you have this team defending champions here, defending finalists, of course, in Fnatic. And you look at players like Hooligan, like SDE, they've been playing since 2015 back in OGN Super League. These players have been playing the game for a long time. And I think going on what you say is very rewarding to see the effort put in over such a long time actually gives those results.
We're going to check in and see which battleground is going to be first, and we'll go to Skimmy in a moment here. So let's find out where we're going. Fnatic will take us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Seems like a bit of a trend.
I mean, they shaped the meta on Tomb of the Spider Queen in Europe and indeed globally. Yeah. It's a battleground they haven't picked in this tournament yet. They've had 4 map picks so far: Double Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire, and Sky Temple. So I'm excited to see what they are bringing out. It used to be Tassadar Lunara, which shaped their playstyle on this map, and it definitely evolved. There was Leoric, but we're in a completely different meta again. So let's see how Fnatic views this map now.
Let's get into it. Game number 1 here. This is a best of 5 to find out who moves on to the grand finals. Fnatic versus Ballistix. Take it away, Skimmy.
Yeah, this is really interesting for me because actually this is how they open up things for BlizzCon. In that grand final last year, they opened up with Tomb. We went to Sky Temple, which we know is a Korean favorite for that macro style of play. But I really want to talk about that Stitches, Grubby. I mean, that's a very high priority.
Yeah, that's so unusual. I mean, we see ETC and Murden are the most played, with Murden having a fantastic win rate, about 60% or so. One of the most highly prioritized
Hooligan
heroes.
actually hasn't even lost a game. Hooligan's played it 5 times. He's 100% win rate. He's always picking it.
Right, so, but how do you go from that and saying, okay, Murden, ETC, sometimes Stereo, to immediately ban away Stitches? Now, keep in mind, these teams have scrimed together. That may seem unusual to you, knowing you're going to be facing each other in the tournament. I mean, back in 1v1 games, StarCraft 2, people never do that before a tourney. Yeah. But because it's a team game, it's harder to find high-level teams to scrim with. So they do all play with each other with various levels of covertness to how they draft in those games. But maybe Ballistix knows something.
I think that there's a high chance that is the case, and they're trying to draft around that a little bit here, but this is what I like to call a throwaway ban. A lot of the time you can actually trick a draft into going your way by doing a ban. If you think that there are 2 S-tier heroes that are at the top and you want to get one of those, no matter what, you ban something like this so you get either of them. In this case, it's going to be the Muradin. Yeah. And it could have been Tassadar, but Fnatic banned away the Tracer instead. This gives them the opportunity to now take Tassadar in a composition that runs well with it. Will they do that? It's left to be seen. But I like this choice of the Tassadar in response to the Stitches because you kind of get one of these heroes no matter what, the Tassadar in this case.
Right, plus if Fnatic now drafts Tassadar with the Tassadar pairing hero, then Ballistix can end up banning away ETC in the second phase, and you will not have your warrior yet in that first draft phase as Fnatic.
Yeah, I'm just really concerned for this Murden first, because as I said before, he's always been picking this first rotation. Ever since the rework, we knew he was going to be strong. It was always a case of how high, I suppose, really is he prioritized by these teams from opening week to now. We're seeing that really climb up from that second rotation into a first pick position. Teams are going to respect this because Hooligan every single day of the week will pick it. It's a generic hero that doesn't really reveal too much at the stage as well.
Let's talk about Malfurion. It seems like there's 2 teams among the entire HGC Grand Finals teams that highly prioritize Malfurion. Fnatic and MVP Black, who is now in the Grand Finals. Malfurion's win rate, 8-3. He's doing fantastic. He's the highest win rate hero among anyone that's been played 8 or more times. Seeing him here though with Genji is still unusual. It's very cool. Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, it's kind of good against hard engage with Twilight Dream, good sustain.
What I want to say, Grubby, is potentially you've got the idea of a Medivh. Medivh hasn't been banned away here. I'm talking on the side of Fnatic, that is, because you've got the Medivh portal. You can then look to try and put a root on top of that as well. Even the flip side of that for Ballistix is they want to use it against them, right? So Medivh not being banned away, I suppose it really comes into the idea of the Stitches before, where that would have been that usual pairing between the 2 of them. But Greymane and Tassadar being left through, it is that surefire pick before that second ban phase comes out.
Very strong wave clear on the side of Ballistix with these 2 hero picks. We saw domination on this map from Black by controlling the waves, controlling the lanes. I don't think we're going to see a Zarya with this comp with the Greymane. But it's interesting we see the Malfurion picked this highly. in the past, on release Genji, Malfurion was considered to be the best support by many Korean teams, and he was picked often against Genji. I'm really stretching here as to why Fnatic would pick it this early, but I don't think it would draw a ban. That's, I think, going to be the X factor in this draft, is what pairs with Malfurion here. Stitches is removed, obviously that's some strong synergy that could have been there potentially, but they want this. They know that Ballistix might have banned it, and that's why they picked it this early. And what we're going to find out in the next few picks is what they want to use it with, and I'm very excited to see what that's going to be.
So Fnatic is considering a support ban here, as they already have one. For Ballistix, probably the most obvious one would be to ban ETC, as they've banned one and picked one in first rotation. It seems to make sense.
Now you take away that top tier warrior that obviously is very strong on a map like this with short distances between the lanes, can give you a lot of early game kill potential. But I think Ballistix is still scratching their heads a little bit right now, as we do not see this priority of Malfurion in Korea as to what it could be. And it may be, again, that scrim sort of thing you were talking about going into opening week where they were training with Fnatic saying, we've seen this Malfurion before. Let's try to figure out, let's try to crack the code here. That's what Fnatic is doing. The ETC ban feels so obvious that you're reluctant to lock it in this moment.
Exactly.
I mean, if I was to think outside the box here, potentially Ballistix, considering the idea of a Kerosene ban, it's a way of diving into that backline with the Genji, looking to try and secure that kill. You've got that double support. But then, speaking about that, we've seen a lot of single support, especially from these two teams this tournament.
Brightwing is also another strong ban here. Obviously, you're worried about the potential Genji bombs, boss control that offers. But I don't think Ballistix is going to go down that route. It's just going to be the safe ETC ban. Looks like they thought about a lot of other potential pairings with this Malfurion that maybe they've seen before in scrims, and then ruled them out at the end of the day, took the ban that's safest, because I think this ban shows they can't quite know yet what Fnatic's next move is.
Yeah, exactly. Consider, by the way, the support style of Malfurion. Sustain heals, good anti-dive with Twilight Dream. What's good against it is ranged burst. Malfurion doesn't deal well with burst, but if you get too close and you have a 5 melee team, as we kind of saw before with the Kerrigan comp from Temperstorm, you're in trouble as well. So ranged burst is good. Greymane is there, Li Ming is still an option, and displacement can work pretty well as well, like Stitch's hook, you know, he's not available, but...
These are the sort of things I'm starting to consider right now, because you've got the Genji here, you've got the route to pursue, the reset as you discussed. I was going to wonder how would they look to try and protect, because obviously with Malfurion you've got that slow hot heal. You want that burst initial heal, so that could have come from Ufu, could have come from a Sanctification by Tyrael, could have come from the Medivh as well, but Inubrak promotes this idea of diving into that backline, giving somebody for Genji to get amongst it with.
I mean, they've been one of the more prevalent teams with Inubrak at this tournament, which is kind of surprising. It's almost drawing from the past where they had their most success.
Inubrak Uther was all the rage.
Yeah.
Then his cocoon distance got nerfed, and you know, the meta changed to double warrior, double support. Suddenly Inubrak lacks the sustain. But if we look at the win rates, solo support is around 63% win rate, double support 47. So as much as we expect the double support meta, solo is doing okay, and Inubrak does fine. Forget also not, Fnatic used Inubrak with Locust Swarm yesterday.
Yep.
2 warriors, 2 damage heroics, and you kind of bring up that damage up to scratch.
That's exactly what I was thinking here, and you can do a lot with that on this map in terms of aggression as well. So maybe the Malfurion roots are just simply going to be helping them secure those early game kills. They have Uther for these stuns to come through. Ragnaros, a big top tier pick throughout this tournament from the Asian side of things, especially. Even SEA was running this on this map. We've seen a lot of Lava Wave, but when given the opportunity to pick the Ragnaros, which has been banned many times, Korean teams will just take it for control of the objective.
So I mean, the Kerosene could have come out on either side, but Ballistix decide to promote it with them, so they've got that dive squad. Going to give some heals and protection for both Greymane and Mirrodin, and as you discussed, the Ragnaros could go 2 different directions, Lava Wave being what Trixler I'm sure wants, but typically speaking from these higher level teams, so to speak, we do see that Sulfura smash for the all-in potential, the all-in Korean style, but now the 5th and final pick.
Ballistix is a fairly generic draft of defense. Tassadar, Ragnaros breathes defense. Fnatic much more aggressive. And they now have to make a choice. A second warrior with a high damage output, Arthas Dahaka, or maybe even more range. Falstad stands to mind as one of Quacknix's favorites still out there.
I wonder if Leoric finds a place in this draft too. They need wave clear.
Whoa!
This is risky, especially given the Tassadar on the other side. One thing I feel like Fnatic really, really lacks compared to Ballistix, who has Tassadar and Greymane and Ragnaros even, is that wave clear. And we've seen these Korean teams push waves, especially on this map, control the turn-ins, force those fights because the teams that are facing them, well, you're here for the right thing. But these teams that have been forced to fight these defensive Korean setup comps that have better wave clear have really been struggling.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of add to what you said, or at least explain it, Genji, Anubarak, and Uther have terrible wave clear.
Horrible.
Chromie can do 90% of the backline Archer's minions with the Dragon Breath, so that still needs someone to clean up. And then you've got, you know, Malfurion, and once he completes his quest, he's pretty good against Mercs, but you know, there isn't that much there, but there's a lot of interrupts. So Fnatic has a lot of interrupts on Pay Station. They try to prolong, but the rotations will need to be amazing to cover up the massive amount of wave clear that Ballistix has.
And they're expecting a long game, I suppose. Again, with the Ragnaros on the other side, that has been able to draw out games in this tournament alone quite heavily when it comes to using Molten Core.
Well, I was going to say, you know, to add even further to your point before about the wave clear, yeah, that wave clear is going to allow them to get that experience lead, allow them to unlock those ultimates that much quicker. Yes, Ufa will have that that cleanse available to him, the hand of protection. So I think it's really going to come down to the execution style, as you mentioned. Yes, Fnatic's draft lacks the wave clear. They're very sort of linear in the sense that they need to find kills to try and get the ball rolling. But if they can get a cleanse to try and prevent this all in from the Muradin, the Greymane, the Ragnaros, they could turn things around.
No, I just think that the key here is going to be to get those objectives early. Get the picks, do the damage with Chromie. You want to be using those Dragon Breaths on heroes, not on wave clear.
Yeah.
If you get the first turn in, I think you can maintain a lead with the poke that you have to get those structures down. But I think if they fall behind early, I don't think they have a chance of beating this draft from Ballistix.
Remember as well, Tassadar level 20, Twilight Archon sieges are insane.
Yeah,
as long as you keep auto-attacking, it refreshes the duration, and I know Ballistix loves to run this. They used it against Expert to great effect.
All right, it's time to go in then as BlizzCon get ready, because we have a rematch of our grand final from last year. Ballistix is going to go up against Fnatic to find out who moves on to the grand final.
And it's going to be a big one, but Caldor, I'm a little nervous right now. I think we found the Fnatic bullpen here. And guess what? We even have a living legend here, Mama Breeze is here to cheer on the Anubarak player himself. Very exciting.
Yeah, I'm a little bit afraid here. I think if we found the Fnatic fans, or they found us, I'm not quite sure how exactly that worked.
One of the two.
But yeah, the games are going to be great here. The second semi-final, we have the draft already, and Fnatic is already answering with a very aggressive draft here, so they are going to try and come out swinging.
Let's stop delaying. Let's get into it. Game number one here as we move in the Tomb of the Spider Queen. Ballistix taking on Fnatic. One team will move on to the grand final. Who will it be?
Once again, we have Korea going up against Europe, and to the left side of our first map, Tomb of the Spider Queen, we have Breeze on Anubarak. We're seeing Quacknix this time on Genji, playing the ninja with Shrimpy, of course, in the backline on Chromie, Whoopi on Malfurion, and Smexy on Uther. As we are fixing apparently a couple of issues here. Someone's probably nervous.
Yeah, Ragnaros is currently thinking about living Meteor build. Do we go Lava Wave? Lots of decisions that have to be made here. Should we have picked Murky instead? You know, lots of things to consider. So pulling out a real quick little timeout.
We had a couple of Murky signs, we had Gazlo signs, and so far the specialists have been pretty disappointed.
Yeah, it's very interesting actually, because we see tons of Murky players in the crowd, but yet we haven't seen them in the pro play. I think the pro play is kind of missing out a little bit.
Not sure about that.
I'm pretty sure about it. Conflicted as well here, honestly, here. This is actually a really big match between these two teams. And honestly, I'd be happy for either two to go forward, but I'm not going to lie. I kind of want an EU versus Korea finals.
I mean, they put 2 European castles in here, so...
You're going to have a little ice.
But the thing is really what I want to highlight while we have this little opportunity is how close these teams actually are. Our analyst has talked a bit about how they scrimmed against each other. And of course, with so many teams here, you take the opportunity to play against the strong teams out of different regions. But these guys have been bantering around for like a week. Like, they hang out every single evening, and there's of course a lot of sense of competition here, but at the same time, everybody is on really good terms, hanging out in the evenings and getting some food, some drinks together. So yeah, these guys are ready to play, but at the same time, it's a friendly competition as we have all the way to the left. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Fnatic!
On the right side, the reigning BlizzCon champions, SCSC playing Greymane, Hooligan playing Muradin, going to be having Zhanghua on the Ragnaros. Following up, SDE will be playing your Tassadar. And finally, Swoy on Karazim. Give it up for Ballistix.
One Korean team already made it to the final, and Ballistix is going to try to do the same thing and make it an all-Korean grand final here at BlizzCon. Very scary draft from them as well. Once again, we have Ragnaros in play here, and a lot of one-shot potentially, especially after level 10. But so far, it's Fnatic with the aggression. They want to go in for the kill. Quacknix tries to confirm it, but he can't drop Ragnaros.
Barely getting away. There is the Ragnaros, but Fnatic bringing the fight to Ballistix, and you're going to expect it too, especially with this composition. Anubrak and Genji should be setting up that Chromie for these kills, and Ballistix, knowing that, saved him just barely.
Now, we have seen a couple of different builds here at the tournament, in particular on Genji, but right now we have Quacknix still going back to the E build, to the Swift Strike build that we have seen so much in the Western scene. At the same time, also, of course, Malfurion starting to work on his double here as well, the Moonburn, trying to complete that quest and add that wave clear that they really need.
That wave clear, very, very important here for Fnatic. Malfurion going to be helpful. Chromie can help out too, but overall, you look at their composition, they are severely lacking. I mean, the analysts talked about it. Ballistix, in terms of looking at paper, Ballistix is way ahead in that wave clear. Greymane, Ragnaros, Tassadar even, really helping push those lanes forward. So Fnatic is going to be looking for these kills consistently. It's just a matter of whether or not they can grab them. Even so far, they put their damage on Hooligan. Muradin's hard to kill in the early game.
They want to make aggressive rotations happen, and so far they're doing a good job with it. Especially Genji, of course, being highly mobile here between the lanes. And he is attempting to help out at that bot lane continuously to put pressure onto Karazim. It's a 2-for-2 for now as Mexi and Quacknix go up against Swoy and Zhanghua.
Yeah, this has actually become quite common in this tournament and a couple weeks beforehand too, putting two on that bottom side, usually a support to help out with that solo laner, and Ragnaros should be just safe there with that Karazim. But it's mostly coming down to Hooligan. How will he stop the ganks that are coming their way? But also, can he find a moment to maybe pounce on that Chromie?
And he is going to look for exactly these moments. Chromie is going to be the vulnerable target until later on in the game. So for now, it's definitely something where Shrimpy has to be careful with his positioning.
Already though, he's nice and safe. That Time Walker's Pursuit should help him with the ganks, but Wubby maybe not so lucky here. The Malfurion getting caught on the right side. He drops the root. Chromie gets picked up right away, and Wubby gets out, but Ballistix shows very similar fashion to what we saw with MVP Black. He put pressure on one target and then jumped to another.
Ballistix getting the first blood here. It's exactly what we said. Shrimpy needs to be careful. He is the go-to target for Ballistix if they can. And they made actually a double aggression happen. They jumped on Malfurion and on Chromie at the same time. That put the pressure onto the support. Couldn't really help out with another route here to save Chromie. So at this point, Ballistix gaining a bit of momentum here. And they try to capitalize on it by turning in. But so far, none of the two teams has turned in a single gem.
That is the one thing that Fnatic has kind of in their back pocket here. Between the Barbs level 4 picked up for the Anubrak, Chromie poke as well, it will be difficult for Ballistix to get those turn-ins. They do have a few melees pretty heavy on their side. In fact, you consider 4 of them being melees if you look at that Greymane. So it will be difficult also for them to get into the aggressive position to actually set up with the Malfurion roots constantly coming out there from Wubby. The poke continues, but Ballistix is about to have enough gems for that turn-in that you were mentioning.
Yeah, both of the teams are closing in on that quite heavily. So the question is, who will get the first objective? Nice dodge by Breeze here, making sure that Hooligan misses the Storm Bolt, doesn't walk into the trap, and is able to move out.
He moves out. He's nice and safe here. We did see Anubrak on the right side scouting out this mercenary camp being grabbed. That's why we see them go in for a fight, but Ballistix will be able to grab that merc camp and get pressure on the middle lane. And remember, we talked about the lack of wave clear. Every time those mercenaries are grabbed, Ballistix will be able to pull Fnatic into the middle lane, which should allow for them to find opportunities to go for the turn-in.
Fnatic at this point, talking about the turn-in, is trying to do exactly that, but Ballistix is ready to interrupt them. And the camp that they just have taken is now pushing through the mid lane, so Fnatic will have to react to it. And we talked about that lack of wave clear that they have in comparison to their Korean opponent. So they need to dedicate a lot more heroes to the defense, and that's an opportunity that Ballistix uses to get the second kill against Malfurion.
Yes, they knew that 3 were in the middle, and they pounced right on top of Malfurion. Wubby has fallen here. Ballistix grabs level 7, and they start to drop off a few of their gems, even trying to get Anubrak a bit low on health here. 12 gems did go in here for Fnatic, 16 now hit for Ballistix as we race towards that 50.
And Quacknix is trying what he can to interrupt, but SC is up at the top once again, trying to drop at the 28 that he currently holds. Hooligan, on the other hand, at the bot lane is in a bit of trouble, but he gets the shield and immediately moves out. Quack and Smexy just not enough to take him down.
Ballistix incredibly close to get their turn in. Can Ragnaros get up here on the top side? No, we do have Malfurion coming in and poking, slowing it down. Greymane, though, in the middle lane, SCSC taking some damage.
Yeah, Malfurion a bit too late with the roots here. Couldn't lock the target down even longer, but Fnatic definitely trying to get a counter kill. And in the meantime, the turn-ins always interrupted. It's one of the big strengths of Fnatic draft that they have so many interrupt potentially here against Ballistix. So as long as they can control the turn-in points and at least make sure that Ballistix don't get the objective, they will be fine.
But that also speaks to how well Ballistix played in the early game. They dropped off 44 gems. Oh, Jungle on the bottom side taking some damage here. Hooligan jumps in, look at it, Quacknix will be able to hit a Stormbolt on him. He's getting low. Swoy going in, delivers the final blow, and Quack will fall.
Great attempts here by Ballistix to turn it around, and they get the kill. Jonga was in a lot of trouble, and everyone on Ballistix side is incredibly low here. But the target that was dropped was Genji, so the Korean team with a lot of discipline here in every single fight.
They were low, so they had to back up, and Fnatic actually secures the first turn-in of the game here. Webweaver's pushing in all lanes, and guess what? Quacknix is back.
Big problem, on the other hand, for Fnatic is that they are already half a level behind, so the Webweaver wave is great for them, but they need to make sure that they get the most of it at this point.
Gotta really push those tires here and try to get as much as you can out of the mile. Gonna have the Webweavers in every single lane. Fnatic doing a good job of clearing at that middle side so they can get that opened up first, and then decide how Ballistix responds, and then they can make their move towards a turret wall. For now, let's get that experience.
And of course, Jonga can always go straight for the Molten Core, and he does exactly that. Ragnaros already with a trade here, going for the defense. Fnatic very likely to move to the... Well, Chromie going down, not even getting an opportunity to move to the next lane here and simply dodge. Ballistix comes out swinging, gets the kill at the worst time possible for Fnatic.
An odd mistake there from Schwimpy, staying in range of the Molten Core coming their way, getting pelted by all the damage coming from Ragnaros, and the follow-up from Erdin was just enough. And that effectively slows down the entire push of Fnatic to go ahead and commit to the bottom side and grab a turret or two, but that's about it. That's all they get out of this turn-in.
Look at the experience. Ballistix, the turn-in for Fnatic happened already, and Ballistix is still the one that will reach level 10 way ahead of the Swedish team. At this point, Fnatic looks in so much trouble. First of all, we have nearly 2 turn-ins on the side of Ballistix readily available, and they have level 10. There's no way for Fnatic to stop them right now. In fact, Nubarak is actually being attacked here. Breeze is in a lot of trouble, but the slowing stance comes out. Chromie trying to help. Breeze gets a heal. Smexy moves in as well, helping him out. Hooligan overcommitting a little bit, but there's no damage to completely deny him here.
He lives, and SDA is taking damage on the right side. Ballistix finally gets that turn in, and they will be able to sneak away. Ballistix going for that kill on a Nubarak. The Spell Armor very helping out there, but of course the Malfurion and Uth are there with the heals to support Breeze as he pulls on back. Fnatic needs to get 10 here and find a way to defend the push coming.
It was a pretty big commitment by Ballistix, but the saving grace for Fnatic is not only that they kept Breeze alive, they also have that level 10 ready for the defense. So that they're not helplessly just sit there and have to take it. Ballistix can push in with the objective, but Fnatic at least has a fighting chance in this particular battle here in the mid lane.
Cocoon's gonna be helpful. They're probably gonna put it on Tassadar. They do actually get the Tassadar here. Dragonblade comes in. Quacknix is going for the kill. He'll get a murder, and he's looking at Ragnaros. There's 2 kills right away. Looking for a third, but shouldn't be able to get it. Now let's pull back and defend. Fnatic in a great spot after they hit 10.
Fnatic with a double kill here. Huge commitment in the mid lane, and they drop Ragnaros and Murden. Great moves here, and especially the silence that we saw from Wooby. That was absolutely perfect. The Twilight Dream not giving Murden a chance to either jump out or even use Avatar.
Now, in the European region, Fnatic would normally hit level 10 in our HGC league, and there would be moments where they would just go ahead and start running away with the game. Can Ballistix regroup here and make sure to shut down Fnatic and the strength they have in teamfights?
Ballistix has to try that. The one thing that really worries me for them a bit is now Chromie has finally access to her level 13 talent timeout. And that is making her a lot safer. With a double support, all you have to do if you're getting ganked is buy some time for the supports to finally reach you. And then Smexy will be ready with a Divine Shield. But once again, Fnatic gets caught. It's again Quacknix who dies on Genji.
Quack on the bottom side, playing with fire there, gets caught there as Ballistix takes him out. So Fierce Smash will be utilized, but Genji will be back in about 13 seconds. Should be helpful for the team. Fnatic is actually in the lead in terms of gems here, 52 to the 41 of Ballistix. Can they delay long enough here for Quack to get back?
Hooligan pretty far out, and as you said, Fnatic is trying to delay right now, but we saw exactly the one-shot potential that we mentioned a bit earlier. With Ragnaros committing this heavily to him throwing out the Sephora Smash whenever he can, they get kill after kill right now. And it all starts with Hooligan and his Storm Bolts, and he is stacking that extra damage with a perfect Storm on level 1. 19 stacks so far, so he's nearly sitting at an additional 100 damage. If they can put that onto Chromie, onto Malfurion or Genji, and Ragnaros follows it up, maybe even Greymane, that would be an insta-kill, and that's what they're looking for.
And they're looking for another kill here as Wubby will be on the side. There's going to be a fourth wall coming out. They turn around and look at Zhongwei. The Impale comes out from Breeze. There's a silence. Gonna have the palm from Sloy, though, that keeps Zhongwei alive, but will it be enough? No! Quagnix, he comes in with the blade, and he slashes!
Quagnix goes in, but Nubarak dies. Breeze is down, and now Quack in a bit of trouble, but they get the kill! Muradin dies, and now it's SCSC who's in trouble. Swoy is starting to move in, has the dash ready, the cooldown is there, but can Shrimpy drop him? Not yet, doesn't get the hit. Quack still following it up and trying to drop Karazim, but he's not successful as Karazim is able to walk straight to the fountain, heal up, and retreat to the recovery of the fort.
Yeah, Quack was trying to read Swoy, trying to jump over on that Karazim down to his teammate, but he didn't do so, missing out on that shotgun burst. And they'll pull back, and they'll go for their turn in here, which they do have enough gems for, which will allow for them to finally start making a dent in the infrastructure of Ballistix.
Yeah, we definitely have a fight on our hands now. 13 versus 13, 4 kills against 6. Fnatic trying to get the next turn in here, and indeed they do. They have it. They need to push in now, but again, Molten Core is going to be a problem potentially for them. So once that Zhonghar commits to the trade, they need to rotate away to one of the lanes.
I mean, they have a couple of options. One, bait it out in the middle lane and then go to a different lane, or have a Nubrak go for the hard engage, jump on that Ragnaros is trying to move into that Molten Core. We'll see what Fnatic wants to do here. So far, they've showed hyper-aggression, and it may pay off for them here.
And of course they have to, oh my god, once again in the mid lane, SCC, the palm is hit, but not procced. Barely keeping him alive, but Breeze starts to move in from the side. He's trying to flank, gets the stun, he himself in trouble, gets the Divine Shield. In the back, we have Jonga already looking for a potential flank. He wanted to go in, but he could not make it in time. Good trades and cooldowns, but no kills so far.
They had to pull away. There are too many cooldowns popping out there for Fnatic, but they do get the first fort of the game, which is something we did not expect, especially how the first 5 minutes of this game did go. Now, in the top lane, we have Ragnaros clearing out that Web Weaver. It got pretty low, but the fort is still standing for now. Fnatic turns their attention to the middle lane with all 5 members being here.
Hooligan is the one to watch out for. He's going to initiate with the stun, and he completes his quest talent 12 minutes in as well. But Fnatic busy in the mid lane. Here comes Ragnaros with the Molten Core, but Fnatic is already on the way back. Here comes Hooligan, missing the Stormbolt. Already tower being used, they're all moving away. Ballistix, they can't get the fight they want.
Fnatic can turn this around if they want to. They look at Hooligan, they put some damage there, but Ballistix fails on the engage they want. The Molten Core a second too late there. Also the timeout coming out just to buy Chromie enough time to get the heals.
They actually burn the 2-minute cooldown and they don't get a lot of it. And as you said, Fnatic tapping the well and immediately just turning around and saying, hey, if you still want to fight, we're here, we'll take that. But especially as Muradin was already low, Ballistix had to disengage. But that was definitely not what they envisioned when they were starting to engage into the battle.
Well, Ballistix, good news for them if they want to go ahead and get into this game here. They have the gems available on the bottom side, 81 available for them if they can go for a turn-in.
Also, talking about quests, we have 54 stacks already on Shrimpy with his Chromie. So soon enough, he will complete his quest. He has committed now to the Shifting Sands on his level 16 talent too. And that means that he is going to have a massive damage output once that he gets the next few hits in. So super important here for Fnatic to also hit that power spike on their main damage dealer.
I mean, you've already seen the damage already with the root into a combo from Chromie. That Sandblast coming online is going to help out. Chromie right now has 38k damage. Next one behind them, Greymane, SC with 23k. That's how much Shrimpy has had an impact on this game.
Yeah, Shrimpy definitely putting in the clinic here. He died early on once or twice, but now especially with 13, as we said earlier, with timeout, he's so much safer. The double support keeping him alive, and whenever he has an opportunity to follow up on either Malfurion, Uther, or stuns from Anuburak, he always gets the combos in, and Ballistix is starting to struggle a bit against it.
They're even looking scared. Look at them on the map there. They know the poke is constantly coming out. They're not trying to even grab the turn-in by many people. people. They're only putting one at a time here. Jungwa drops off 29 gems of the 81 that was available for the team. Ballistix continues to skirt around the outside. Fnatic threatening an engage at any point. Breeze has a cocoon available and ready.
Tenacious Roots now on level 16 for Whoopi on Malfurion, making sure that he can set up Shrimp even more. They go in, they collapse onto Jonga. Here comes the Dragon Blade once again. They want to get the kill against Ragnaros, but so far he's still alive. They finally drop him once again. Whoopi with a Twilight Dream, and now they go for Malfurion. The time trap connects, but look at Swo. He's solo. Everybody dead and dying on Ballistix side, but it's Anubara who dies first. Muradin follows.
Karazim trying to escape on the right side. Quadix wants to get more here. Wubby absolutely killing in that team fight though with a Twilight Dream and the Ice Block, stopping Sulfur Smash from coming out. 2-for-1 trade in favor of Fnatic.
The fight for the gems here the entire time. A trade in tanks, but Ragnaros died as well. Ballistix actually with great recovery here in the fight as it started, especially with Swoy using Cleansing Touch, his level 16 talent, and the synergy with a Blinding Speed on level 7 to make sure that Ragnaros gets out of the position. But by that time, we already had the Dragon Blade in full function here as Genji just sliced through the entire setup of Ballistix and confirmed the kills.
That Cleansing Touch is imperative though. Good adaptation here for the Karazim, making sure that if Fnatic goes to that full-on combo, they can at least try to save a target. Big play there for Ballistix, but the palm was a bit too early.
We talked so much about how Malfurion committed to the Tenacious Roots on level 16, how Uther, of course, has now, with the 16 and Benediction, the double stun, all the setups for Chromie in particular, and Cleansing Touch is going to be a huge game changer here. So Swoy is the one to watch out for as he's trying to keep his teammates safe.
All right, Ballistix, they do get the turn in here on the top side, so they'll have Webweavers pushing in. Fnatic is setting up for defense. They even put Webby on the bottom side to grab the Giants, who will mitigate that bottom lane. This allows them to focus on the middle side and the top. And also, with them only having to focus on two sides, they can go for an engage if they need to.
Yeah, one of the important things to note is also that every time Fnatic pushes in with an objective, now that we have, even for Tassadar on 16, the Psionic Echo, they have so much wave clear between Greymane, Tassadar with the completed quest, Ragnaros, Molten Core, that it's very hard for Fnatic to gain value out of their own web weavers. But now it's Ballistix who are trying to at least drop some of the forts that we see here in the mid, the top, and the bot lane.
Fnatic has identified that Greymane's in the bottom lane. They're putting some pressure on Hooligan here on the front side. Jungwa made the target, but Quadnix sidesteps, also gets a Divine Shield from the Sulfur Smash. This means Ballistix' main aggressive play has been taken away.
Great reaction here by Quadnix, but at the same time, Smexy also on point. In hindsight, you didn't need both here, but of course, Uther wants to be super safe. If that kill happens, then Ballistix has too much momentum for Fnatic to stop it until the hero is back. So they are playing it safe here, but Ballistix are starting to claim a lead in experience.
Yes, they're opening the map themselves here. The bottom four has been taken away. They're already looking at the middle. This should be an easy pickup if Fnatic sends anyone down that bottom lane to defend. And they have sent somebody down there. Malfurion defends the bottom lane as best he can. Ballistix starting to find their own footing in this game.
And that last skirmish, 2 cooldowns were burned, so for a Smash and also the Divine Shield. And Divine Shield is absolutely crucial for Fnatic's composition. Every single time they engage with Genji and use the Dragon Blade, they want to have Uther ready with the Divine Shield. And of course also these flanks that we have seen from Malfurion with the Twilight Dream, making sure that the hero like Murden, for example, can't pop his avatar to save himself. And the Palm, another big tool that you're trying to shut out. Here comes Hooligan with Engage, the stuns are in. Good damage with the cocktail from Ballistix, but Fnatic, at least for now, holds.
Yep, Fnatic making a decision right now, either to force a fight or go for the tournament before they get too close to level 20. That is Ballistix, because they are at 19 and almost a quarter in experience. The sieging damage from Chromie continues to climb up and up as she is landing these Sandblasts. Turn-in does go in, but we need 6 more gems here for Fnatic.
Yeah, 6 more gems for Fnatic, but we also have Ballistix with the right amount here. So if they can turn in, they can snowball this a bit. And they are the ones who will hit the Storm Talents a bit faster if Fnatic doesn't get the turn in first.
You were talking about that Echo and how annoying it can be for wave clear, but it's also annoying when you're trying to go for a turn-in. Eventually, though, Fnatic does prevail. They'll be able to grab the turn-in here, and they're having the Webweavers push forward. They have half a level to play with here before Ballistix hits that ever so important level 20.
Webby away for Fnatic, and as he said, the Storm Talents are going to be crucial. But the fort at the top lane is incredibly low, and that's going to be a big chunk of experience in the hands of Fnatic if they can drop it early. They might want to split a bit and soak several lanes here, but we should see the level 20 come online from both teams at roughly the same time.
Splitting, though, is so scary. They have to be careful. Genji will be the one to go to the bottom lane. He has the most ability for this team. Malfurion plays safe and pokes in the top lane to soak that experience as well. Fnatic knows they want to be even footing when they move into that 20 against Ballistix, and they are playing this slowly plus surely. But the problem is the Webweavers are being wasted.
They get the top experience though. Both the teams roughly at 20. All the lanes pushed in. Fnatic trying to move down to the bot lane. 20 has hit for both teams right now. And that's of course another big game changer here. As we see Fnatic pushing in. Ballistix trying to defend. Webweavers at the top lane. Also pressuring. Ragnaros looking for potential flank even. Keep in mind, he can always sneak behind the team. This is why Breeze is waiting there. Waiting at the fort that got destroyed earlier at the bot lane. Because he does not want Ragnaros to cut off the path of retreat.
I have to wonder if Shrimpy is psychic right now. He is hitting every single shot here with the Dragon's Eyes, doing it blindly here, working on the turrets as well, sieging on Ballistix as much as he can here. The Webweaver finally does get cleaned up, and Ballistix can breathe a sigh of relief here as they wait up and try to scout their opponents.
Shrimpy has completed his level 1, and his damage output is insane. Here comes the cleanse though. Nice timeout dodging. So much damage he has. They're trying to go for it, but at the same time, Breeze is in trouble. And once again, we see Muradin following it up in the direction. It's in there, saves him. They get the stun in. There's carnage everywhere. Spells flying left, right, and center. Hooligan once again on the chase. The Stormbolt hits, and it hits hard.
And Shrimpy will fall at the same time. So wait for the kite on the right side. He'll get slashed here. He's on the silence. Is it enough? It is enough. Quackix is trying to pop off right now as he tries to hit targets, but Muradin is fine here. Smexy left by himself will stun to save his teammate here, be able to provide heals on the side. But Breeze, Malfurion, and Genji, they need to get out.
Redemption is still in play, and they want to kill Uther once again, and they very likely will do that. He's trying to buy a little bit more time for his team. Smexy on the run right now, but Ragnaros is being attacked to the left as we see Fnatic sharking around, seeing if they maybe can turn this around.
It's gonna get out.
He shouldn't,
Does he have a stun?
And Muradin, Hooligan!
He's coming in. Finally, he will fall here, but he's bought some time here. Chromie will be up in 20 seconds. Keeps are still up. Fnatic, they just need to chill out. They are fine for now, but Ballistix, they find kills and they continue to run forward.
What a game here
What
already.
a game.
They are starting this best of 5 series off with a bang on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And Ballistix now, with the momentum they have, they are moving towards the boss. Karazim still down for a few more seconds, but Fnatic very reluctant to engage into a big battle at this point. They don't want to stagger deaths even more, and with them still holding the top fort, they seem to be absolutely willing to give this one up.
Well, the boss will be grabbed here. Fnatic even scouted out the Time Walker's pursuit. They are aware the boss will be coming, so they have set up as well as they can to push the middle and the bottom by grabbing the mercenary camp. So Giants and Knights will be pushing for Fnatic, but Ballistix, they have another turn-in available to them, and this will be deadly if they're able to push and find a kill.
This is definitely going to be a bit rough to defend, and Fnatic knows that as well. Especially if we once again see Ragnaros getting into a good position to use the Molten Core. That could be a massive, massive problem here for the Swedish team. Submerge being used on 20 for Ragnaros. Here comes the boss. The Webweavers on the way soon, but Fnatic has taken a cap at the bot lane. That's going to at least defend it, maybe even pushing it in a bit, but they need to make sure that up here at the top, they don't lose too much.
Yes, Fnatic has bought themselves time, but is it enough? Can they defend this top lane? The Webweaver will be coming after this boss. It's still at a little under half health. Quackix goes in. They go straight for the Ragnaros. The Impale will connect. Genji, being in the aggressive fight he can, goes straight in for the attack. Massive Twilight Dream to fall. A third in trouble as well. Jungle doing everything he can to lift. He will fall. Hooligan and SDE are the only ones left.
Quackix popping off on Genji, going in, confirming the double kill. The boss is about to fall. 3 heroes down on the side of Ballistix, and Breeze still looking for a kill even. They're moving in at the bot lane. We have the Siege Giants moving through, and all of a sudden, all the momentum in the world in favor of Fnatic. Great fight up at that top lane.
Yes, Quackix realizes the boss fight has come through. He jumps onto 2 targets. A Nubrak landing the massive Impale there, but watch the Twilight Dream. Boom! There it is, hitting multiple targets. Jungle even used Severe Smash, but it's not enough.
Wooby with some insane Twilight Dreams this game. Absolutely game-changing. And this was a dire moment for Fnatic. They could have lost the game there. Instead, they are the ones going through the keep, going towards the core. Fnatic, they're going for an 8 seconds for Karazim, 9 for Greymane. They get the kill against Muradin, and they go for it.
Fnatic goes straight for the core, and they're going to start burning it down already through the armor. Greymane is up right now. Ragnaros will be here soon. The core starts to fall. It's down to 80, down to 70.
Rag is back. Uther goes down, but Fnatic goes for it. Shrimpy falls. Chromie is dead. 3 heroes still alive. The core at 50%. Fnatic in trouble. Ballistix defending with everything that they have. The core down to 40 at this
30.
point. Quackix in the limit of
20.
trouble. Breeze about to fall.
10.
Divine Shield goes off. They're going for it. And Ballistix goes down. Fnatic takes game number 1.
an impressive start between these two teams in this best-of-5 series. This is the semifinals you come to BlizzCon for.
Exactly. This game already setting the pace for the entire series. Back and forth from the get-go. Fnatic victorious, but Ballistix, they have shown here in the first map already that they want to make this all-Korean Grand Final happen.
The Fnatic bullpen is cheering loud for this team here. They are very happy with that game number 1. I think we all are. Ballistix even showing up there. Incredible core call at the end. Can't believe that actually popped out. And I gotta say, I'm already ready for game number 2.
I definitely am too. This is the semi-final between these two teams that we've been hoping for, and so far it has been insane. Ballistix in the early game looking so strong. The one-shot combo coming through several times, but especially from a damage perspective, Shrimpy sitting at 82,000 damage at the end of the game. Just to give you a bit of an idea, Greymane, the highest damage dealer on the side of Ballistix, ended up with 59,000.
Well, you probably heard enough from us. Let's go to our analysts and get ready for the next game.
Setting a blistering pace to start this semi-final out. Oh my god, what a game. In fact, to be honest with you, the best game that we have seen all tournament thus far, Grubby.
Yeah, because it was so high level on either side from both Fnatic and Ballistix, so much back and forth, and then to end it with such a Kalaris core.
Oh, no. It did die, it's fine.
That's true, but I mean, it was very close. You know, Greymane and Ragnaros are coming back, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're putting our headsets back on, and I'm not sure that game is done yet. It was very close.
Very close. Redemption, I think, being the saving grace for them there, having those extra heals, then the Divine Shield that actually ended up keeping Genji alive. Korea's lack of play against Chromie, I think, is one of the big reasons why they struggled so much. And Chromie's stasis there, her ability to kind of keep herself alive, we almost never see that picked in Korea. And I think the timings of a lot of those fights were ruined because of it.
Skimmy?
I was just going to say, we always talk about Fnatic being one of those teams that really come online after level 10, and you could see there, I mean, it was a case of, yeah, the wave clear kind of sucked, but the execution was the big factor. The execution was there, right? So you hit level 10. Wobby, for me, had to be the highlight with the Twilight Dreams, always finding incredible value, whether that be denying crucial ultimates to go off, allowing him to get those kills, but no, they hit that execution phase, which we've said teams need to do. It's a lot harder to achieve, but they made it work.
Grubby, you noticed some interesting interactions in that game, actually.
Yeah, actually, Wolf, you kind of alluded to it. I have a replay, which we'll jump into in just 1 second. Let's go right away. Look, as we pause it here for a second, Shrimpy right here on the Chromie, and then you've got Jongha here on the Ragnaros. The cool thing about this is Chromie actually turns out to be a bit of a cool pocket pick against Ragnaros. Now, Ragnaros is an excellent defender. Look, he's going to go for the Molten Core, and Chromie, Shrimpy, is actually looking at that. One cool thing that not everyone may know is that Molten Core still counts as a hero. That means that Chromie's Sand Blast gets extra stacks. That means that he can damage it with all of his spells. And that's actually what Shrimpy's looking out for here. And we've seen a lot of amazing fights, but this was just a small little thing I wanted to show as we roll it forward. And Jongha goes into that Molten Core, and this push will be a heck of a lot stronger if he can land those hits. But look at this, Hooligan knows he's blocking those on purpose. If Shrimpy was able to hit those shots, it reduces the duration of Molten Core, strengthening the push. Now, Ragnaros is gunning back for Chromie, for Shrimpy there, and Hooligan with the confirmed kill there. This was just a really cool thing. A way that you might not immediately consider to strengthen a push is just by taking out Molten Core faster, and only Chromie can really do that.
And in the end, Fnatic is able to take game number 1 here in this best-of-5 series, the last non-Korean team in the tournament. We're going to hear a word from our sponsors, and when